And so here's the completed PC. It don't look too bad, does it, guys? So yeah, £200 PC this is, £200 build. Pretty decent specs actually for what we've got. i7 4790S, 16GB of DDR3 RAM, and we do have our MSI GTX 1660 Gaming X. So really nice graphics card as well. For £200, I think we have done really, really well. And I'll put on the screen all the prices and all the components that we have used. So pretty much, you know, this is a pretty simple build on a H81 motherboard, using an i7 4th gen, so pretty old now, but just about gets the job done still. 16GB of DDR3 RAM, clocked at 1600 MHz. That's crucial Ballistix RAM. A 550 watt power supply, not too bad, from Corsair. A 512GB SSD from Oricon, or whatever it was called. Forgotten what the exact name is. And this Vida Lucid PC case with our MSI GTX 1660 Gaming X as well. So yeah, really nice gaming PC I think we've put together here, and I certainly think for £200 we've got really good value here, and really happy with that. So I think next is we'll just go right onto those benchmarks now, and we'll just see what this PC can do. So yeah, I mean, overall we actually have done really well here. I mean, we're going to test 1080p medium and 1080p high because this PC can actually do it, so that's really good. Fortnite first, 1080p medium, an average of 87, a minimum of 28, and a maximum of 127. And the 1080p high results, an average of 43, a minimum of 28, and a maximum of 70. So unfortunately 1080p high was a bit too much for this PC. Too many drops and the average just was too low. So unfortunate we can get 1080p high, but 1080p medium is working fine. Again, Fortnite is very demanded on CPUs now, so the little i7 4th gen there is really struggling, unfortunately. And it was on 100% usage most of the time as well. So yeah, it was really struggling here. The 4 cores with 8 threads, Fortnite is becoming a little bit much now. I actually think we're kind of almost up to the 6-core 12 thread sort of minimum now for Fortnite, which is kind of crazy to think, seeing as it kind of ran on almost anything at one point. So it's a very demanding game now, Fortnite, actually, how they've changed the engine and what have you. But overall, this can play Fortnite, so, you know, can't complain, really. GTA 5 1080p medium was an average of 81, a minimum of 62, and a maximum of 114. And 1080p high results was an average of 73, a minimum of 56, and a maximum of 87. So even 1080p high, over 60 FPS average there. Really playable GTA 5. Now, I know people are going to say it's a 10-year-old game or what have you now, but still, GTA 5 is a very popular game, and I still think it's relevant even in 2025. So this PC can do it at 1080p high, and for £200, you can't really go very wrong. You know, we're playing 1080p high in a very popular game, so I think that's fine for 200 quid. What more do you want? Our third game was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and it's 1080p medium. The average result was 95, minimum of 73, and a maximum of 151. And the 1080p high results was an average of 90, a minimum of 67, and a maximum of 145. So again, over 60 FPS at 1080p high on this PC for the average. So really good here. You know, this PC, to me, it looks great. Well, maybe apart from the actual power supply has those ketchup and mustard cables, which is a bit of a downside. And also, I suppose the Intel stock cooler is a little bit of a downer as well. Maybe we could have spent an extra 15 quid and got a cheap Thermalright CPU tower cooler. That would have made it a little bit more fancier, I guess. And maybe adding the cable extensions might have made it a little bit better as well, for sort of £15 as well. So maybe about an extra £35 or so. Could have just upped it a little bit, but I think really saving that money and actually trying to pass it on to the customer so that potentially I sell this on for, say, £300, they're going to be more happy with that rather than paying, say, 350 just because it looks a bit fancier. So I'm happy with the choices that we've made. And I certainly think for £200 we'll be able to sell for a profit. And really, just this is our last game, Cyberpunk 2077, 1080p medium, an average of 68, a minimum of 52, and a maximum of 86, and a 1080p high, an average of 61, a minimum of 49, and a maximum of 74. So there we go, guys. I mean, like, what more do you want? 1080p high, Cyberpunk 2077 with a 60 FPS average. Well, 61 FPS average. So I mean, you can't really ask much more. This is an Intel 4th Gen i7. I mean, this is like, you know, this isn't expensive stuff that we're using here. So, you know, really good here. I mean, our 1660 is doing really well. To me, it looks really good. I really do like the graphics card, the MSI Gaming X. The Gaming X ones from MSI always look really nice in my opinion. Really nice backplate on that as well. And even the MSI bit here, the MSI part here actually lights up and is, I think you might actually be able to control it with the software. If you download like the MSI Mystic software or whatever it's called for that RGB control, you should be able to control the RGB. Now, unfortunately, with the fans, you won't be able to control the RGB because the ARGB, so I say the addressable RGB, because obviously we don't have the ARGB port on our or header on our motherboard, because obviously it's 4th gen, so it's very old, so we won't have that. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's still going to be perfectly fine, and obviously you can use the reset button to cycle through your colours, so not really concerned about that personally. Overall, I do think we do have a really nice PC for £200, and let me know in the comments what you think, guys, and you know, would you sort of build something similar to this? Now, I do admit, especially on Fortnite, the 4th Gen i7 is starting to become a bit too weak now, unfortunately. Maybe if you had a 4790K, you might be able to get that little bit extra, and that might just about get you through. But really, I think we're kind of onto like Intel 6th Gen or 7th Gen i7s as the kind of absolute minimum that you need for gaming now. Really, actually, I kind of think something like a Ryzen 5 3600 is kind of absolute minimum now, really, in terms of getting the sort of performance that you need for all of your games, as well as, you know, from the CPU side, as well as having a decent GPU to kind of pair with that. Now you obviously can get away with lower than the Ryzen 5 3600, but I kind of feel that's kind of where we are at with gaming at the moment, where 6 cores 12 threads is really where you need to be looking at if you're going to be playing games seriously anyway. If you're going to be playing competitive games, certainly that's what you need. But obviously if you're casual, then you can still get away with that older hardware. And obviously people who are buying this aren't going to be buying this to play very high demanding games. They're going to be low. They're going to be playing them on basically 1080p low settings on easier to run games, I would say. So 1080p low is going to be easy for this PC. So that's great as well. That's why I didn't do 1080p low. I only just concentrated on medium and high. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think below of our little PC here. Really nice in my opinion. I personally really like it. Leave me a like if you did like this video, and please subscribe obviously to see my future videos. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.